Hi all, in this video let's learn about use ID hook in React.js. So what it is, how to use it, how not to use it. Okay, so for this let's understand with the examples as well. So use ID hook, what does it mean? So this hook is introduced in React 18 version, and use ID hook, it generates a unique ID, so that we can pass and we can use in some of the ways. I will explain that. But end of the day, like use ID means it's like generating a unique ID for us. Before this use ID hook, we were been using a couple of third-party libraries like UUID libraries, okay, to generate the IDs, or else an custom logic to generate the IDs we used to use. But with the help of this, we can generate the unique IDs. So let's see some few of the examples like where to use, where not to use. Firstly, let me explain where not to use. So most of the cases you may be seeing that when you think of use ID generating a unique ID, so most of the people think and they will use that while you are looping this, like you have items and you are iterating over the items and you are using them and displaying them as a key, okay, and listing the elements in these items. Here you should not use this use ID. This is not a right way. The reason behind this is like in the official React page itself, they have told that this use ID should not be used by in the keys. We should not use this as a key property values here. Okay, this key should be something. It should not be the index, so which we are getting from this item. It should not be that index, and it should not be the use ID as well. It should be something, the value which we are getting from the response. Okay, and please don't use this in this place. Okay, of course it may be generating the unique ID, but that is not recommended by the React team. Use the data in the response. You might be getting something unique. We need to use that for the better re-rendering purpose. Okay, here you should not use use ID. So then where we need to use ID and what exactly will be getting there. So let me explain that. So how to use ID? Just import the use ID from React. Okay, later just give the use ID like this, and it don't take any of the parameters, no parameters to use ID. And what it returns a string, a unique string ID. So when you call here, so it returns a unique string ID. When you call here again, it returns a unique string ID like this. So I'm just consoling these three here, just wanted to show what it generates as an ID. So if you see the syntax, so this is what it generated: colon R0 colon R1 colon R2 colon, like this it has generated the IDs. So if you see the syntax, you may feel that this is a bit strange, but this is like wantedly they have created this sort of syntax. The reason behind this colon in front of the ID and colon after the ID is they wanted to prevent these elements to access from the DOM. Okay, so now this element, so if you give this password ID to any of the input element like this, so now you can't access this element with the document.get element by ID. So this is intentionally designed structure or a syntax for this use ID. Okay, they in React they don't want to handle the DOM manipulations directly, so that's the reason they have did this. Okay, fine. So now you have understood what exactly how syntax about the use ID as well. So let me explain you about like how we are going to use them. So firstly, use ID. So you need to use here. So and these two are linking. So this element is an input element and this is the paragraph element. Now what we are doing, we are trying to link the form element and its relevant input elements. So this is one element and we wanted to describe what is this input element with this paragraph element. Okay, so in these cases like Aryan described by, we have given this use ID and we are using the same ID for this parameter p tag as well, paragraph tag as well. So why we are doing this means this is for the accessibility purpose. We can use this use ID. Most of the cases you need to use ID for the accessibility attributes. Okay, so like this. So because this is linked with this parameter, this input element will paragraph will be describing this element. It means these both are related elements. So that is what it describes. So what with what you are describing, that with this use ID, you are saying that these two are linked or related elements. Okay, so fine. So why we should not use an hard-coded element? So for example, I can use directly and hard coded value like 1 2 3 or something else, right? Why I should not use that? Because if you see, this is a single component. Okay, this component can be used multiple times. Okay, but if it is used in a different places, if you hard code, that is fine. But if you use this component multiple times in the same page, then that there you will be getting a problem. If our ID is hard coded and you are using it multiple times, that is not a right way. Okay, that's not a best practice. So that's the reason. So here you have a component. Okay, now you are using it multiple times. See, wantedly I'm using this password field multiple times in a single page. So even though now these two elements will have two different IDs. So this is what we can, this is the reason we should not use hard coded value, and we need to use the use ID value. So each time when you use this component, you'll be getting an unique user ID, like unique string for these elements. So in that way, you can differentiate these elements. This is the first use case or scenario where you can use this use ID. So in the second scenario, so let me explain the second scenario where you should use this use ID is. So this is a scenario. This is also more or less the same. So you can relate the relevant elements. So for example, these two are relatively, these are the same elements. Okay, label and the input field. Okay, now you no need to recreate this use ID multiple times. You can just prefix this. So in short, like we are generating the IDs for this related elements. This is, these both are related element, label and input, and these both are related element, label and input. Like this, if in a form we have 10 related elements, so you no need to create 10 use IDs. Only you can use one use ID and you can prefix something. Okay, like this. You can prefix something like first name. For these two, you can put a one prefix. And for these two, the related elements will have the same prefix like this. Okay. In this scenarios also you can use use ID. Okay. So now let me explain. This string should be static string. While you are concatenating this ID, use ID with any of the string. While you are concatenating this ID with any of the string, this string should be static. It should not be a non-static string. If this is a dynamic value or a non-static a non-static value, then what happens is entire this value becomes a dynamic value. So all the IDs becomes unpredictable. So if these IDs are unpredictable, then re-rendering becomes a problem. So while you are using a single ID throughout the page, throughout the form for all the related elements, then you can use this prefix. But please make sure this prefix should be static. It should not be a non-static element. I told the reason. If it is dynamic, the re-renders couldn't be predictable. Okay, so these are the few areas like where we can use ID. So this one and this one, there would be multiple areas, but clearly I have mentioned don't use in the place of keys here. Okay. So hope you understand the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. Thank you.